Hello everybody and welcome back to Five-Fuel Junction and welcome to another DCC fitting video. I know I've done quite a few of these in the past, but I find them that they can be very useful to people, especially considering that most models that you open up that aren't DCC ready, almost every model you open up is fairly different on the inside. However, there are models out there, various models that whilst they may look different on the outside, and obviously they do, on the inside they are exactly the same. As you read by the title of the video today, we're doing a Hornby 1980s HST. I know it doesn't look like it, especially considering that the body's in first Great Western livery. However, this one, as you can see by the mechanism, this is a 1980s model. It's just been repainted. Obviously for this conversion, we don't need the body, so we'll just put the body to one side for now, because we don't need that. So obviously for this conversion, we only need the chassis. Now I have done a 1980s Class 47 DCC fitting, and this model, the tooling is exactly the same. Obviously, for a start, they do look fairly different. However, the concept is exactly the same. If you were to open these up, both of them are pretty much exactly the same on the inside, in that they pick up the electricity from one bogie from one side, and then on the other side, the other bogie picks up the electricity from the other side. So on this model, there are only two wheels picking up from each rail. And obviously that isn't incredibly efficient. However, at some point in the future, I probably will try and upgrade this to have more pickups. I was actually considering adding more pickups before I did this conversion. However, I thought it would be a bit too difficult because I'll have to be cutting down stuff from the wheels and stuff, and it would just be too much hassle, to be honest. So I'm going to leave it the way she is at the moment. I have tested her on DC. She does run fine. I did have to strip the motor down and give it a nice clean and everything, because I don't believe this model had been used for a while. However, she is running perfectly fine. She's nice and smooth. For her age, she's running very, very well. But obviously on my layout, I run DCC, so to make her perfect for the layout, she needs to have a decoder fitted. Now, since this is a I suppose this particular sort of model is going to get used quite a lot on my layouts. There are some models, such as, if I just grab the Class 47 that I did, you may remember this is the Class 47, a 1980s one that I did a DCC fitting on a little while ago. Now this particular model doesn't get run very much, so I didn't really want to fit. I didn't really want to do my typical 8-pin socket and a high quality decoder. So that's why I just shipped this with a typical latest DCC decoder. However, since this is a HST, it's first Great Western, it's perfect for what basically the era that I modelled and everything. I am going to do my typical 8-pin DCC socket fitting in this one, and then it's going to have a Hornby decoder for the moment. However, at some point in the future, it'll have a better decoder fitted, and it'll probably have a better motor and everything as well. However, in this video, I'm going to be doing my typical 8-pin socket and everything. Now, these particular models, they are very easy to do. So if I just turn the loco around, we can see we've got the motor here. Now, it is a ring-filled motor, and obviously they aren't the best motors in the world. However, this particular one runs very well, and they're not too bad. Now these particular ones, as I said, are very easy to do. So as we can see, we've got a wire coming up from the front bogie here and going to one side of the motor. Then we've got another little wire here. If I just pull it out here, we can see there's another wire there. And what that does is with this bogie, it picks up electricity from these two wheels here and here. That electricity goes in the wheels, through the axle, it then goes into the metal block that basically surrounds the motor. And then what that does is it then goes through this wire and then goes down and goes into the other side of the motor here. And this is going to make it very easy for us to convert it to DCC. There are other models that are fairly similar to this, in that this wire isn't here. And what happens is that there's actually screws that hold the two metal plates here that hold the brushes and the springs in place. There are on some other models, I believe the Class 91s are one of those, the old 1980s ones. I believe there are screws that hold these metal plates on, and basically one of those screws passes right through and goes into the actual metal block. So it's a bit more difficult to do those because you have to actually isolate the screw from the metal plate. However, on this particular model, there isn't that. It's the nice and easy option. So it's going to make it very easy for us to convert this model to DCC. So all we need to do to convert this model to DCC is first, we need to remove the capacitor, which you can probably just about see in there, in between the two metal plates. It's an orange one, you might be able to see it, I'm not too sure. but there is a capacitor in there. All we need to do is take that out, and then all we need to do is these two wires that are coming to the motor, they're just sort of clipped on. So what we need to do is we just need to take those wires off, and then if I just grab the 8-pin socket, we've got the 8-pin socket here. This is the one that came out of my blue Pullman. You may remember that I did a video on hardwiring the trying blue Pullman to DCC. Well, this is the 8-pin socket from that, because I don't use the Pullman really anymore, so I don't really see the point in having it on DCC. So I thought, well, since I've got a spare 8-pin socket, I might as well use it. Now what we need to do is the red wire from the 8-pin socket will go to this wire here. The black wire from the 8-pin socket will go to this wire. Then the orange wire from the 8-pin socket will go to this side of the motor here. And then the grey wire from the 8-pin socket will go to this side of the motor here. And that'll be it. So then we can just plug the chip in, put it on the track, and then she should work. Famous last words, but I'm sure it'll be fine. So I suppose that's it. Next thing to do is we'll get the 8-pin socket fitted, get the chip fitted. Hopefully she'll hopefully run nicely. One thing that I'm probably also going to do as well is I've also got another weight from another Hornby 1980s HST. And what I'm probably going to do is actually I'm going to fit this weight to the model as well, just to make her heavier and give her a bit more traction. She may not need it, but I think I might as well do it just in case, since she is going to have to haul 8 Mark IIIs, plus she is also going to have to haul the dummy car as well. As we can see here, this is also a 1980s Hornby HST. This particular one, it did have a motor in it. This did used to be a motorised unit. You can probably see in the back there, if I hold it at the right angle, you can probably see the motor there. However, with this, since I'm going to be running these two power cars together, I just wanted this particular engine to be a dummy car. So what I've done is I've stripped what I can out of this end. So I've taken the gears out, I've removed all the wires, I've removed the brushes and the springs of the motor and everything, just to convert this model to a dummy. And I've also taken the weight out of it. This is the weight that used to be in this model. However, since I want this model to be heavier to give it more traction, and I also wanted this to be lighter to also reduce the load on this particular one, so I thought I'd just mention that. But yeah, but anyway, I think enough rambling on. Let's get the 8-pin socket fitted, get the chip fitted, then we'll see what she's like. So I'll see you welcome back everybody. Sorry that was probably quite a bit longer than it needed to be and probably quite boring, but we're here finally. Everything's been wired in. Took a little bit longer than I expected it to, but we're here. She's had the 8-pin socket fitted and the chip's been fitted. So we can see here, I know it looks quite complicated, a bit messy, but it should be fine. So just to go over it again, the pickup wire here has gone to the red wire on the 8-pin socket. You can see the connection just here. The black wire from the 8-pin socket has gone to the wire motor from the pickups over here. You can see the connection there. If I just spin it around, we can see that the orange wire has gone to the right hand side of the motor and the grey wire has gone to the left hand side of the motor. And then all of the extra wire and the connections and everything, I've tried to just bundle down into this space here, and the chip has been secured with a double-sided sticky pad on top of the weights here. And I have, as you probably saw at the start, I have super glued these two weights together just to make sure they're not free moving and everything. Hopefully the body will go back on fine. We'll try put that back on after we've tested it. But anyway, let's head over to the layout, put her on the track and see how she runs now on DCC. Okay, here we are. So let's grab the chassis and put it onto the track. There we go. Now I might as well clarify, I have already just given her a test. I thought something was wrong to start with because she wasn't moving. However, I found it was just one of the CVs wasn't quite how I wanted it to be, so it meant I had to give her quite a lot of power before she started moving. CV10, if you must know, on Hornby decoders. So I've changed the back EMF, which is here CV10, back to the factory setting. And I've also given her just a random address for the moment, just so she's not the same address as any of the other locos on the layout. Now let's give her a bit of a test. There we go. And the other way. not forget, this is 1980s model, so she's very old, and it's just a Hornby decoder that's in here, remember, as well. Now that is really, really good for a model of this age, and just for Hornby decoders in general, because they're not brilliant decoders. But if we get her to go as slow as she can, a little bit faster, that is really, really good. That is, to us, that is really, really good for a decoder like this. Don't get me wrong, she is quite noisy, but that is really, really good. And there we go. So next thing to do, let's get the body back on, put some coaches with her, and see what she's really like. Okay, so here we are, the body's back on. She's got a full rake of coaches plus the dummy car coupled up. I have given her a quick test, as usual. I do usually like to test them before I film them just to make sure everything's okay. She can handle them perfectly fine. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the body on with both of those big weights in the chassis, so I've had to remove one of them. And then what I've done, using some other smaller weights that I've had, I've put a couple of tiny little weights in this small space back here behind the motor, then a slightly larger one on top, and they've been glued into the chassis just to make sure that they don't move about. And with that and everything else, she seems to be absolutely fine. She obviously, I was expecting her to be quite unreliable with points and stuff. She did cut out in the point that's just out of shot over this way, that goes into the bay platform in the station. However, after looking at it, I realised it was just the point was very dirty, so I've given it a quick clean. Now she seems to be handling it absolutely fine. So without further ado, let's get her running around and see what she's really like. Well, overall, I think we can say that's been very successful. She's running beautifully, she's handling the full length train with ease, which was quite surprising, to be honest. I was expecting her to struggle quite a bit. But yeah, overall, very, very good, I think. Very worth it. I think she's going to make an excellent addition to the HST fleet. Obviously, these the HSTs I currently have, and now I've got a couple more of them. But yeah, it's excellent. For her age, she's absolutely amazing. I really wasn't expecting her to run this well, to be honest. I was expecting her to be louder for a start. But yeah, very, very good. I'm impressed.